All right, good evening, everyone. This is the Air Conservation Commission meeting. It is Thursday, December 8th, 2022. Commissioners in attendance this evening. There's Jeremiah as member, George Bacon as member, Jess Gugino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, myself, John Schmallenberger as chair, Heather Hampson as conservation agent. Welcome, everyone. Do we have a confirmation of agenda? Any changes?
No changes.
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed nay. Passes unanimously. All right. Approval of the meeting minutes for November 10th, 2022. That was a long time ago.
It was, thank goodness.
Thank goodness. Anyone have any other changes besides those disparaging remarks that? No?
So we're blaming Jen for the misspelling of. She wasn't there to disprove it. So.
That's fair.
Oh, do we have that? Do we have the new signs?
We don't have new signs yet. I'm still waiting for. I checked yesterday. We'll do member updates later.
Yeah. Any comments about the minutes? Changes?
No. Thank you for the minutes. Thank you for the minutes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I made the correction to Greenfield from Greenfield.
Thank you.
So.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about that? No. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. This is the time in our meeting for public input. If there is any public input or something that's not on the agenda, now is the time. I see no public to give their input, so we shall move on. First item this evening is a request for an ANRAD Orion Park, Ayer, Massachusetts. Gentlemen, would you like to join us?
And just so you know, we just got the DEP number for that today, so it's 100-0481.
Wait, just a second. 100 dash.
0481, and there was no comment.
There was no comment?
No,
From Mass DEP.
from Mass DEP.
Okay. Okay. So you have your DEP file number?
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Matthew Barrell. I'm with Lucas Environmental, the environmental consultants that prepared the ANRAD.
Can you spell your name?
Yeah, first name Matthew, last name Varrell, Varrell.
And sir,
My name is Paul Campbell. I'm with Chess Engineering, the surveyor and engineer record here.
okay, thank you. Just for our records.
Yep.
So it's a pretty straightforward ANRAD. In full disclosure, I did not do the delineation on this. I'm here representing the client to hopefully answer questions you may have or just kind of move the process forward, it being an ANRAD. So this is for Orion Park Drive, parcels 5, 7, 37, 36, 37, and 38. It's a little over 18-acre parcel. A portion of which is developed in the front here. The remainder of the parcel all through here is undeveloped. It is within the Pettapawag ACEC, and the rear portion of the property is within mapped rare species habitat. Again, as part of the ANRAD process, not sure that's entirely relevant, but just in full disclosure, that's what it is. We found two separate wetland resource areas on the site, one bordering vegetated wetland and one isolated vegetated wetland. So the bordering vegetated wetland is in the rear western portion of the property here, flagged with flags A1 through A38. There's a DEP data form included in the application documenting the delineation. And then the small, fairly small isolated wetland is sort of in the center of the site here. And that was flagged as an isolated vegetated wetland, and then engineering calculations were done to determine if it met the criteria for an isolated land subject to flooding under the Wetlands Protection Act guidelines. This is a little bit of an interesting case because based on Paul's calculations, it actually does not meet the criteria, which is holding 10,000 quarter acre foot of water to at least 6 inches. However, based on records that we reviewed, there was documented evidence that this area held well over that volume, to definitely over 6 inches. So if you look at the engineering calculations to say it wouldn't, and again, those engineering calculations are going to be based primarily on watershed and runoff, things like that, does not take into account groundwater. And from speaking to Paul, it sounds like these are very sandy soils in this area. So it would make sense that we probably just have groundwater that comes up through those sandy soils, and just in the springtime, high groundwater basically fills that. So it really, I think in our opinion, would meet the ILSF criteria just based on observations as much as anything. That area is also shown as a potential vernal pool as mapped by the Natural Heritage Program. And again, in the historical record of observations made by Oxbow Associates, was observed to have egg masses that would likely presume that it is serving as vernal pool habitat. This was flagged in July of this year outside of the vernal pool season, so we weren't able to flag sort of a boundary of the vernal pool, but I wouldn't expect it to differ probably too greatly from what was flagged out there currently. Certainly wouldn't be any bigger. Maybe coincident, maybe a little bit smaller. So basically we're here just asking for the commission to approve the wetland boundaries and the resource types, both for the isolated and the bordering vegetated wetland. That's about it.
Can I ask you what your project is?
You can ask me, but you better ask him because I haven't the slightest idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So my client isn't sure what the long-term project is, but this was permitted about 20 years ago. It's a subdivision. They recorded the subdivision, but they never really made any progress on the approved subdivision project. So now he's dusting it off again, looking at what he could potentially do with the project. And it's 20 years old now. You can't just pull out the whole subdivision approval and build your. So 20 years ago, they were permitted to build some commercial. These were all zone commercial, so commercial buildings. But he's right now he's trying to evaluate what to do with the property. So first step was to get the wetlands flagged again, get this settled, and then he's going to kind of decide what to do. But we know that we're going to file a NOI regardless of what he ends up doing. But yeah, there's no real defined project right now.
Okay, but 20 years ago, it was supposed to be commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all zone commercial.
This is the 2008 Order of Conditions that was approved, the plan. So I reviewed what was submitted with this ANRAD and what the plans were in 2008, and those lines didn't differ too much.
Yeah.
And there is a conservation restriction that is recorded on the property further back outside of the proposed on here work, so it's outside that area. And there was back in 2005 natural heritage that I found in the file too, listing different species in the area. So all that information, we have it all, just from 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that CR came out of dealing with natural heritage.
Yeah, probably. And then we're in the process of redoing, looking into all of our conservation restrictions, and I found that it was recorded, which was a bonus, but the baseline, I don't know if it's baseline documentation or anything had been done on that yet. So, well, I couldn't find it anyway.
Well, I don't think even back then we knew to ask for it.
There was a file that says something like, but it's not. It says something that we would think it's a baseline, but it's not.
Yeah.
Not to what the standards are now, anyway.
So it sounds like you're not in a big rush to start building something.
I mean, the first step we haven't even started planning anything.
Yeah.
The first step is just getting these locked down and then seeing what's possible. But
yeah, I guess I would say our only quote-unquote rush would be as if we can get these boundaries approved before this whole thing, is covered in snow, and then we're not looking at it until April or something. I think our preference would be to get these boundaries confirmed, ideally in the next couple of weeks
Yeah.
before the snow flies, so that during the winter time, once all that's set, creative minds can go to work on what actually may be proposed out there.
Right. Do you think this needs peer review?
No.
Yeah, we didn't think so either, yeah. Okay, so we can set up a sidewalk,
Okay.
come out there and check it out? Christmas Day, how's that work?
Yeah.
If we could do it on Christmas Eve, I prefer that.
Christmas Day is much better than that.
How about this coming Saturday?
Hmm.
Saturday morning?
Okay.
Should be
No?
Doesn't work on our end that well. Would the
Okay.
following Saturday work?
And the date of that is
the 17th.
17th?
Yeah.
Well, it will work for me, but if you guys go, that's fine.
It will not work for you?
Well,
How about you, George?
Yeah, it's okay for me.
I think it's okay for me. Jess?
It should be okay for me.
Jen?
As long as we do it in the morning, like normal.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Heather?
We have the Pocket Forest site walk on that Saturday,
What time
starting
is
at
that?
10.
10
So
a.m.
if we did it
Oh, we can get.
gradually before that, that would work. I may or may not have kids with me, but they'll just sit in the car.
We can do it early.
Send them to-
Jess is getting up early these
I'm gonna
days.
buy them
Call
cookies,
up the
donuts.
I can do it when I have to.
Seven-
I'm motivated.
17th,
Yeah, that would be great.
8 o'clock,
Perfect.
and we'll meet you where?
It's a parking lot.
Right in the parking lot.
The parking lot right there.
What would I tell Google to get myself there?
I think I think Orion Park Drive.
Yeah, it's.
There's only one building there.
Yeah, there might even be a sign right off of Westford
I think there
Road that
is.
says
Yeah.
Orion Park.
It does.
Sweet that you can all see it.
I mean, it's a
Southwestward.
it's a
Road.
sign.
Thank you. 8 a.m.?
If you're going into Groton, it's on the left. 8.
Any
Okay.
other questions?
All right, gentlemen.
Great.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right,
So
we'll figure that out.
before you leave,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, approximately a year ago, our
Yep.
former agent was trying to access the site to
I'm gonna
confirm maybe
assume
the
they do
conservation
the
restriction or
conservation
something, but
restriction.
Okay.
she had a very difficult time trying to get a hold of the property owner
Sure.
to be able to get the gate open.
Okay.
If you're familiar with what I'm talking about. There's a gate at the end of the driveway, basically. That
Is
I
it
think-
this? There's a driveway over here, I think, but that's not on
No.
the property.
Yeah, no, it's basically right here.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so, I guess if we can investigate whatever she was trying to confirm, that we could maybe do it at that same time.
Yep.
Based on the old, I guess, 2008.
So we'll get in touch Filing? with Joanne and see what it was you need?
No, I'm sure we have it
The
in
minutes.
the files, the minutes, or something like that.
It might have been to do with the
CR.
CR terms and the signs.
Was that, maybe that was it, that there were
Yeah.
supposed to have been signs placed, maybe? And I don't think she was able to get over the gate to find out if those signs were there. So, I mean, you can probably do it on the site walk,
Yeah.
essentially, but if we just find out what she was trying to do, because she never was successful.
Right. So Heather, you might look at the CR stuff we have on that and see if we're supposed to have
Yeah.
signs.
And I guess another question while we're kind of thinking about those types of things, obviously the order is expired, was a certificate of compliance ever issued just to close it out and that it was never?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not in the
That's
file,
probably-
so I'd have
that's probably
to
something that
do
we
research
should-
on that,
we
yeah.
should file just to clean up that old file as well.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you want me to give you the DEP number? What?
Yeah,
so you,
that'd be
to
great.
save you some time. It's 100-0292.
0292.
Yeah.
Yes.
A pertinent question is if we do the site walk in the next couple weeks before snow falls, that meets your criteria of getting it done, but
Yep.
do we need to meet on the 22nd? Do you need a ruling by December 22nd at next meeting?
No,
Or-
I don't think so. I think as long as sort of we're all in agreement that, whatever, if there's any little flagging changes need to be, I don't think anything's gonna be drastic, obviously. So yeah, I think even if you didn't actually issue until January, I don't see that being
No.
any kind of a problem.
Yeah.
I think we just wanna not have it open until April.
Yeah.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that sounds good.
Great.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Super. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Have a great evening.
You too. All right, our next item this evening is a discussion of fiscal year
Budget.
2023 budget.
Yes, so that's one thing, if we are not going to meet on the 22nd, we need to vote on this evening.
Tonight.
Because those are due at the end of the month,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
So everyone received a copy of Robert's memo in regards to the budget and along with what had been our budget over the last 3 years. And you have to forgive me, I haven't had to do a budget in a very long time.
Thank you very much.
Is this the FY 2023 or
24.
Is it 20?
Yeah, we're in 23 now.
Yeah.
It's always the next year.
It's very confusing.
It does, it gets confusing. Wait till you do 61A paperwork and you guys submit your taxes from the previous year for the fiscal year coming up. That gets confused. So, the way that everything has been condensed to now is they basically put everything in just smaller groups. So everything just services, supplies, expenses. So they combine the majority of our accounts now. So it makes it a lot easier. There's not like 17 accounts for each department. It's more like an expense account and a revenue account for the most part, and then there's salary. So it makes it a lot easier to figure. And I'm trying to look at this.
Do you have the detail of like when you look at 23's budget?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we had it broken, as you said, it was broken down
It-
finer, or
it
but at
used
least
to be.
identified like what some of these dollars were specifically.
I might have that on my desk if you want to give me a minute.
Yeah,
I think I
if
did.
you don't mind, because I was looking for that. I thought I had it here, but I must have left it at home. I guess I don't remember what the jump was from 22 to 23. Was that for additional beaver deceivers or anticipated higher pond?
Well, we do have, I think the beaver stuff is now, or was separate.
So that makes me wonder, like, why did we go for 76? Or why do we have 76?
So you're better at budgets than me. Which area are you looking at on this one?
So the current budget,
Yeah.
second column from the right,
Yep.
it says the current budget for 23, which continues to June of 23, is 76,570. But when you look at our actuals from 22 last year, we were only at 58. So why did we have such a big bump? Does anybody remember?
I think that's the beaver,
Was it?
That wasn't, it couldn't be that much.
some of it.
Unfortunately.
Is it our part-time person? Did that get approved? So without
That's
being
yeah.
here?
That's what I'm saying. It's like I just
Yeah,
don't remember what to make it
unfortunately,
was.
it hasn't. I don't have that.
Yeah.
It's just the 4 line items: the wages, services, supplies, and expenses is what I have.
So Jen brought up a
Yes.
thing. Did this include the potential for a part-time, that half a
I
part-time
don't
person?
know
or
how
whatever?
that was being budgeted because the planning board is budgeted under the general fund.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was coming out of that. I don't know how that was approved at town meeting in the spring.
Okay, so that could be because salary should be you, correct?
Yes.
Versus wages would be the
Oh,
part-time person?
well, wait a minute. Up
No.
until July 1st this past year, we were in 2022, right?
Yes.
So
July 1st of
Joanne
this
had
year.
left.
Okay.
I was filling in, but I certainly wasn't full-time.
Oh, maybe those were your wages.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
actuals at least.
Yes.
That might be why that's lower there
Yeah.
than FY 2021, was because we didn't use all our salary line there.
Right, but we had more wages, which would be you, which makes sense.
No, just weird that it went from salary to wages.
Are you considered salary?
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they do. I don't know. I just get paid.
I'm
I don't know how it
assuming
comes
so.
out of the budget. I look at it and go, okay, so it's salaries that, and there's wages under that, and then in 23, it basically salary goes away and everything's under wages. So I think they may have changed it for 2023.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
if you look, the
They just
salary
changed
is
it.
zeroed out and wages are different.
But it does look like the
True.
big jump is in the services line item. though.
Yes, and that was probably due mostly to the pond treatments.
That's separate.
But that's
I
separate,
think
because
it's
we ask
beaver.
for that every
Beaver?
year, right?
I think it's the
Right.
beaver deceivers and
That's what I'm
maintenance. Yeah.
Services. I'm trying to see if I can find it on here. I said they, cell phone comes out of that, so there's that.
Um,
Oh, here we go, services.
And then the expenses, that covers, that's like MACC,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That covers our dues for that, plus going to it, right? That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Your
expenses
stuff.
cover, the reimbursements for courses, the dues, the mileage.
Right.
I'm just looking at what's here from up until, I think, from last year.
And then
Services, it looks like mostly it's coming out of here was cell phone, this was last fiscal year. Supplies, or legit office supplies, and then
Right.
expenses were, reimbursements for courses and dues.
We have the annual maintenance fees for the beaver deceivers. Then we also had different money for installing them.
maybe anticipate needing
beavers.
more this
Yeah.
year on deceivers?
Yeah,
Or
Beaver
this- next year?
Solutions is in here
We don't
under
know, it depends on
services.
the beavers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We need to have it, it's good to have some on hand, because we had the
Right.
one.
Oh, that's something I had to discuss with you too, yeah.
Because, this past year, we had to replace the one at, Long Pond Dam, because it collapsed. So,
Okay, so now I got it.
That one seems to be working well.
at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, until the next time they figure it out
Yep.
and mess with it. The other thing we could check with Cindy on, apparently on the infamous sign project, there is a annual fee for the QR code.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Cindy had said something about keeping it in her budget, but I don't know if she's going to, or if that would be, so we should find out what it is and if that
Yeah,
would be
I would
in
assume
ours.
she would keep it in her
Okay.
budget since she hasn't told me anything about this and we're all getting told
Okay.
about budgets, but I will double check with her.
So, thinking of Robert's email, whatever.
Yep.
And if we said $8,000 for services,
Hmm?
would that $8,000 for services, so that would cover like beaver deceiver type stuff and the annual maintenance of them?
Yeah, because looking back at what I could find for previous line items for those, which budget was it this one? Yeah, that I got printed on in September. So
You want to go down on that line item? from-
it was around,
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying that, you can see what we've spent so far.
Yeah.
yeah, they were around $900 every time they billed us, so.
That's for maintenance though, right?
That was maintenance,
Right.
receiver maintenance.
So if we needed one, I would think, what have they charged us recently, can you remember?
For,
Putting in the deceiver?
Like 11 to 13, well, I think the one on Long Pond was maybe about 1,200,
yeah,
1,200?
Beaver, transfer
not
beaver
12,000.
supplies was
1,200.
1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do
So
they
even
do
if we
at,
had to put a couple in,
what do they do
$8,000
at
is more than spent, right?
1,100,
So you figure $8,000 there,
level control, flow maintenance.
supplies, just bump it to 1,500, hopefully, use less paper. Don't print all this
Oh,
garbage
the
out.
paper, that doesn't come out of ours, and
What supplies do?
so I redid some of the files, so I had to get new files for the
Folders
hanging
do?
files and stuff. I don't anticipate needing anything besides ink for my printer, which I try to use this one more than anything else anyway, for the rest of the year.
All right. And then you figure
Yeah,
$3,000
but
for
budget,
expenses.
supplies, it could be minimal.
It'd be like $3,000 for expenses, $1,500 for supplies, $8,000 for the services, and then whatever they figure out for wages, salary, just throw that in there and go with that.
Yeah, I would probably confirm with Robert what they did with Beaver stuff.
Okay.
Right?
What about North County Land Trust too?
Yeah, and it's a good one too.
Oh, maybe is that why it's so high for 23 because of
Mhm.
that?
I don't think,
So there's $10,000, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would make sense. 'Cause I can't find it
so ask,
in any of the reports that I have.
given this year's sort of messy, partly because Joanne left and then I filled in and I'm not sure where they took that out.
We're done paying you.
We're done paying me yet. But ask where Beaver maintenance fees are put, and also where Beaver deceiver expenses, are those included here? And then also the North County Land Trust.
Yeah, I don't see that payment coming through on, because this was printed for, Carrie printed this for me back in September. And we would have already paid them, North County, and I don't see it, but the Beaver items are all on here,
Yes.
so.
I didn't hear you.
We're gonna meet with Robert on Monday.
Partly in response to what you said a few meetings ago about, in the budget discussion also, if we were to succeed in moving the position out of the union, that should be factored in. So he had to postpone it a few weeks ago, so it's this Monday. So we can also raise this with him now.
Okay.
And then whole separate thing is, it's a whole separate article for town meeting warrant, not part of the omnibus budget, for the pond treatment.
Yep.
For the upcoming year.
Right.
Yeah, I see that. This one here, so this is April, and it says the supplies budget was $450. So I don't know why we're going to 1,500, whatever, it doesn't matter. It
Well,
all
I'm
falls
just-
under
I'm just basing
expenses
it off-
anyway.
You sure it's 450 or this says 1450? So it's like, is there a one missing
Yeah,
there
I think,
somewhere?
well, I think what it is because everything got combined, so that this is the old
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
broken
that's what I'm
down
looking
budget
for.
that you were looking for. I
Yeah.
finally found it, sorry, I just going through like old ones that I pulled out, so everything, so now it's all combined, so that's probably why it's $1450 now, because they smushed them all together.
And I'm staying out of this because
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the
My
lump
eyes go to
numbers,
back
it would
of
be
my head.
$450 for the supplies,
I used to have to
and
spend
then
like 2 hours on
$1,000 for
Saturday
beaver, deceiver,
defending my budget.
supplies, I guess, for this, right? So that would be the
What was-
1450.
I wish there
We
was
have
a.
to vote to approve this. Is that what it is?
Or approve John and me to work it out, and you guys are all fine with that.
Yeah,
Whichever. But yeah,
Mhm.
because I think that's what the Board of Health has done before,
yeah,
where you discuss it and you're like, well, we have an idea of the numbers, just,
we could take a vote for people to support. If we didn't want to meet on the 22nd, we could take a vote tonight to support answering a few questions, and
Oh, I
as
can
long
fix
as it's
that
good
again.
with
I
you,
don't
have
know.
it good to go.
Overtime.
But we haven't
Services.
gotten
Oh,
there
why
yet.
not?
Maybe the
Yeah,
1450,
it's
there'd
okay.
be 26.
Oh, here we go.
go.
See, I want one
No,
of
this
those,
is
I
Thursday.
want what was proposed. That would be this year, but that's okay.
And then if you take this.
Because if I know what was
take
proposed
this.
and what we actually used, then I'd be like, oh, well then we don't need all that.
It's sort of a weird year because it's
So
a
it's
lot of
10K for
different.
North County.
And not even the last 3 years have been
That gets you
weird, right? Because the
1350.
town hall was shut down and nobody could do anything for a long time.
Yeah.
So the last few budget years have just been weird.
New install, let's say beaver deceiver, other services, and then North County Land Trust is the extra 10.
What I would do is I would take the highest out of all of them and just be like,
So that's
Round
that
number.
item, that item, that item.
Yeah.
And then it's just salary,
When in doubt,
so.
round up.
And then
No.
when it comes to
Yes.
like.
If we don't spend it,
So those
Or
groupings
your-
there, that
the
makes up the
finance
numbers
committee
you
knocks
you
it
have in
down,
front of you.
okay.
Sorry, that chicken scratch on the top is a little bad, but the 2170 plus the 2180 plus the 870, that gives you 3050. And then if you add 10,000 to it for the North County Land Trust, that would be the 1350, I think.
Okay, yep.
So I think that's what the numbers were. And then you can see the other two groupings are the other two chunks there. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, if you work that out with Heather and Robert, whatever floats his boat for making it lower, you know. But I think, like you said, if the 10 grand for the North County Land Trust is supposed to come from somewhere else, because I thought that's what
Mhm, yeah,
Jen
because
was
I
saying.
don't see it in any of these printouts
Yeah,
that go into September, and we paid them a chunk in, I think right around in July, and I don't see it, so it must have came from another account.
yeah, because we were talking with, when Robert was here, we were asking about, I thought I remember asking about that, saying,
Yeah, it
are we
didn't
paying
come
for that,
out.
or you paying for that? Or
It
what?
didn't come out of this, it came out of a separate one, which is the same as the pond treatment comes out of a separate one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he
the
took it somewhere
services is more or less, yeah, the beaver deceivers, the maintenance on dams, and cell phones and stuff like that.
Okay.
Department.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm seeing
So, yeah.
here, so.
Make a motion to approve John and Heather working with Robert over the week to come up with an approved budget for FY24.
So moved. Second.
Second, sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Passes unanimously.
What I'm gonna do is
wait,
I'm
who
gonna try
moved?
to.
You moved.
Yes.
I moved. George,
Motion.
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry, I made the motion. You moved.
George second.
With an echo from
Yeah.
Ms. Amaya.
Okay.
What I'm probably gonna do is I'm probably gonna ask what was proposed for the previous years to compare it to what was actually taken out, and probably just do a similar to that.
Well,
Because
those-
if they didn't change much, like,
These previous ones, again, I like to think
End of the
there's
year.
probably in a file, Dylan probably has it in a file. Check one of them, you know, like old budgets or whatever.
yeah, that's, I mean, I didn't go back far enough. These are literally just what I grabbed, and it's all just 2022. It's all from when I started.
Well, maybe she'd post it.
No, they are. I just didn't go far enough back in the file.
Here.
That's all. So they're gonna be in there, and so my guess would just more or less to be, because like what I used to always do, it's like, oh,
Just to be
it's
sure we're
always
not
level
missing
funded.
something.
It's like, okay, whatever we did last year, sounds good.
Right. But yeah, just to think, you know, make sure we're not missing something.
Yeah,
It's like, oh
no,
yeah, what about that?
yeah, it makes sense. So we still have.
Do we have in the budget for matching t-shirts or sweatshirts for everybody?
Oh,
Or
that's-
oak and gold inlay plaques.
And the official conservation commission
I like oak.
fluorescent vests for our safety.
That would be good.
Yeah. I mean, I
Hard
like that.
hats.
But I have one in my office. You guys can just share it.
Everyone else does.
This is wetlands, so that's all gets the waders.
And bug spray, lots of bug spray.
Like that can go under office supplies. I'm sure Debbie Mason sells that.
That one should be this.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
Good to
figure
go.
that out. Good to go.
Anything else on the fiscal year?
Nope. It's in your hands.
Very good.
Very confident.
All right, then our next item this evening is a discussion is the pond year-end report. Water and wetland.
Which nicely includes at the end of it a nice budget recommendation for the next year.
Yep.
We still have to go out with like an RFI,
I think you should keep the budget recommendation off the website, though.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put it, it's
I know.
in the packet, but yeah, no, I am gonna have Cindy post the year-end report, this part. This is a
Right.
separate PDF, so yes.
Because when we do the RFP,
Yeah.
we don't want,
Yeah,
we want an unbiased number
okay,
from competitors.
yes.
I'm very happy with water and wetland, I have to say.
Oh, I have been too. I've only dealt with them for half a year, so.
Yeah, I thought they were great.
But yeah, I will get Cindy to post the year-end report to the commission's website, so anybody can view it if they would like. It does have lots of detailed pictures of like before and after too, which was kind of nice to see. And it does have the table showing the water temperature and oxygen levels and stuff in it too, which was nice. And a lovely picture of how green Sandy Pond looks.
Hey. No, it's pretty.
It is. It's not very green for it being a blue-green algae, but.
What picture are you referencing?
Oh.
Oh, I was looking.
Oh, you're looking. Yeah. No, it's inside the report,
Oh.
and the following page has the table that shows the surface temperature and the oxygen levels after each treatments and stuff. So it was nice to see that there was that the change wasn't dramatic on those, and that they're monitoring the dissolved oxygen levels as well.
What we should do at some point in the next couple of months is, based on this, is come up with the number we want for the Springtown meeting article for treatment. That doesn't have to be right away because it's not the same as the omnibus, but I think last year was it 25 or 30,000? I think we did 30.
Yeah, I think so.
It's 30,000, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he include in this suggestions for treating the blue-green algae?
Second page.
Yes. Yep.
It didn't seem to be an issue in Flanagan's Pond.
No, we never made it over there. It was just Sandy Pond.
Yeah. Or Pine Meadow, right?
Nope.
Yep.
I don't know if any of the ponds were looked at for it. They just do the testing for the Board of Health, the Department of Public Health, because of the swimming at Sandy
Right.
Pond. But because it was in Sandy Pond, they did test Flanagan because they are connected by the causeway
Yeah.
to make sure it wasn't traveling over, and it never did. So
Yeah. Which was kind of surprising.
Well, the water was so low this year, there wasn't a lot of flow. But you could see, was water flowing through the summer, through the drought part, still flowing out of Sandy Pond?
yeah. I mean, I stood there when I was putting the signs up and just looked to see, and it didn't. It didn't look like any other different color than anything else. So I was like, okay, because you would think you'd see a different color of something coming through in the reservoir.
Yeah, like a stream.
So I don't know if it's just the algae's dense enough that it doesn't flow like that.
Yeah, this is
It would
like-
cause like maybe a huge rainstorm in order to get it to move, would be my guess, because the algae's just too dense.
Yeah.
You'd have to physically push it, I think, through. That's my only thought of why it didn't flow through.
Yeah.
I'm probably not remembering correctly, but I thought someone on the Facebook, so you know, grain of salt, said that they blocked it off somehow to keep it from going through.
I never saw that.
No.
Again, grain of salt Facebook, but
No.
Yeah. Hard to see how that would happen. But, yeah.
Does anybody know anything about those Urtro SORB filters? You know what those are?
Oh, Utrazorb?
Yeah, Utrasor.
Oh.
Consulting the oracle of all
That is good,
knowledge.
yeah.
You think we can go like a Littleton Pools and just get like some flocculent and collect all the algae and just scoop it out?
Those things are awesome. Do it in like a bottle and just.
Utrasorb filters are a novel technology specifically designed for intercepting soluble reactive phosphorus from moving water. Provides water resource managers an efficient and economical solution to reduce phosphorus inputs, slow down or stop the eutrophication process, and restore water quality. They bind and reduce phosphorus concentrations in natural waters when placed in the flow of water containing, scrolling, well, water containing phosphorus, I'm assuming. But where would they put them for a pond?
It would have to go at us.
It mentioned inlets and
An
outlets, I
inlet,
think.
so you use stormwater-based inlets. That's where they'd have to do it.
Yeah.
I see it being more of an MS4 item than it would
Yeah.
be a.
Like the
Yeah.
stormwater outfalls or whatever is what
Yeah.
it's saying.
But we don't have that many around Sandy Pond.
Yeah.
No, but if you consider like what Andy Reid was talking about and the flow of stuff right coming down off of Stratton Hill,
Yeah.
my thoughts would be you'd place one essentially in the water just adjacent to wherever that would eventually disperse through the lawns, right?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Oh, yeah, if you put it in.
Put one in front of each of the greenest lawns along Sandy Pond.
But that would be a giant filter then, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But then maybe you wouldn't have put all the chemicals in.
Let's put one
I mean,
at
is that an option?
Grove Pond. That would be fantastic. There's inlets for that one.
Well, what I think would be great in the spring is if we could get Joel in to talk, setting up something with also the public for,
Well, that's if we award them the RFP for next year.
oh yeah.
Just
Or
as
even
a-
if we don't,
Yeah.
have them come in.
But
Did they
yes.
do that at town meeting when we're asking for the money?
No, I don't think the moderator would,
Allow an
Yeah.
expert opinion?
It ends up being a whole issue of someone from. The auditor has to allow someone
Yeah.
from outside of town to speak. But if we had a meeting similar to that before town meeting, so the board would get understanding and whoever public would
yeah.
there could be notes taken and we could reference it at town meeting. That we did have someone come in and
Yeah.
we
Or
could
you
watch
maybe
that.
have a
prior to-
combined meeting with us and like us have a meeting with the town board? Like,
No, so what it would be is we would have whoever is doing
Yeah.
the pond treatment for the year come in and speak to the commission and have it publicized on the agenda that this is what we're doing prior to the town meeting. So if questions were to come up at town meeting, that this is what we're doing, and it may or less be, I don't even know if we hold like a public hearing, but like a public meeting and try to advertise as much as possible, so people would know who have any questions or concerns in regards to it, especially people that came to the meeting a couple weeks ago. I could send her an email and have her tell people at Sandy Pond, like, you have questions, we're going to hold this
Right.
meeting, let people know, and then they can come in and ask those questions. So when it does come to town meeting, if any of those questions do come up, we did our best to inform everybody, and then the board itself is more informed to answer those questions.
So would we wait to do that just prior to town meeting?
Yeah,
Or
we would do that the
it
meeting before.
now?
We'd probably meeting a meeting or two before. We'd probably do it two, if I could, as early as I could, a month before town meeting.
But we wouldn't have the money yet to know who's doing it.
We would know who's doing it,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't have but we probably do have some money left over from previous years. But we wouldn't know if we were getting the money.
Yeah.
Right. But we do have money left over from last year.
Yeah, and when you do the RFP, it would be a contingent of approval of town meeting would be a clause on it.
Okay.
Anyway, so it's not like they know they're getting it, they know it's pending
Okay.
funding.
I was looking at it as utilizing them based on basically this
Yeah, I
year's
mean-
as a result.
Which we could, I don't want anyone, if anyone watches this, to think that we're automatically gonna go people nuts by they're coming. We could just do that because they have done it this previous year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they agreed to do it anyway at some point. I thought they had agreed to come and do
Yeah.
a town meeting kind of thing, so
Okay,
you can ask them.
okay.
It'd be nice to get some more info on those filters though. If that potentially is like a non-chemical treatment.
Yeah, and how they work. It
How
might
they
be
work,
something, it
yeah.
might be something that has to go in to stormwater,
We might
and
need to
which,
get input from Dan on.
well, planning board too is the stormwater granting authority for for developments. So when you have a large scale development that would have inlets and outlets like this that would be of concern, if this was something that the commission thought was important, then I as a representative would go to the planning board and be like, hey, we think you should add this to your regulations and bylaw, please. And hope they say yes, if it came to that.
So I would say at our first meeting in January,
Okay.
we should review the update and review the RFP and get that out so that then in February we can know who we're dealing, we can get the response. And probably we should update it to the RFP to include contingency stuff for blue-green algae.
Yes, for algae blooms.
And what I would suggest is we continue with the 30,000 for the pond treatments, but ask Robert about how we might bump it up to 40,000, and word it so that there's contingency for blue-green algae if that happened again. Because it seems like their costs over here,
30 for
30 for the
regular
regular.
pond treatment
Yeah,
with contingency of 10,
yeah, 'cause
potentially.
it looks like on this page up to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, would we need that though? I mean, would that not really be a health hazard and end up going, like not coming out of our budget, like come out of somewhere else?
I think that's ours.
Board of Health is the one that shut the pond down, we didn't.
The state
But the state did.
Okay, so the state should pay for it.
I did see, somebody sent me an article, in upstate New York, there were about 16 different ponds that had never had a blue-green algae outbreak ever in the past. All have blue-green algae outbreaks this summer, fall.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So, I mean, it was,
From the heat and the drought and all that.
yeah, I mean, there's stuff going on with,
It's getting better and better.
yeah, with the climate. And, so it would be,
December 8th and hasn't snowed yet.
hmm?
So it's only December 8th and hasn't snowed yet.
No, we did one night, overnight,
Mhm.
and then went away.
Yeah, I was on Answer too that following morning.
Yeah.
Here, though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should put that up first on our agenda.
Yes,
also
and I
in
gotta
January.
research different things for that too.
Yeah.
Next meeting in January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, assuming our next meeting
It was
is
in January, yes. Not a problem. I will work on that.
Anything else on pond
Fun projects.
treatment?
Projects.
Sounds like a no. Conservation tree policy.
Yes, so I would like to get that on the record that we have it. So I brought this up a couple meetings ago. I did get a hold of the town of Dedham, which is one of the ones that has this on in their conservation policy. They didn't hold a public hearing, they just did the commission votes on it. It doesn't hold any weight. I can't strictly enforce the replantings as listed in there. I have gone out once since I first drafted this over on Grove Pond, where someone wanted to cut some trees down, and I mentioned to the Zach Flag that I meet just about every time I go out and look at site, and let him know what kind of policy we're looking at doing. The trees that were being removed were dead; they weren't any healthy trees. So I asked if they could keep the the 6 foot snag in wherever he could, he did, and where he couldn't keep one, he left a 3 foot one, and it was not a problem. Okay, I'm like, sweet. There's the policy right there, working already. Right. And it wasn't even in place. So the point of this is to get something on the record, so I have it on the website when someone asks, how do I deal with trees? They have a guide on that. And then I've already been pulling and drafting and trying to take from other towns where I can find one that has some sort of bylaw or regulation that's more enforceable. I haven't found one on the conservation side, only on a planning board side, which is something I'd like to eventually bring this to get it across town and not just our jurisdictional area.
Yep.
So that's along with getting low impact development on the books with the planning board, which I've already been talking with the chairman on that, and so he's on board with that too. So this is just one step in a list of items that I'm going to try to get going in with the town. So we'll get this in the books for now, and then at the next meeting, whether it be in January, I'd like to bring you guys a list of, or start working on it, if it stays fairly quiet, on what we'd like to see revised in our regulations and what we can add to that. And I'll bring a draft list to that meeting, which would include hopefully either getting a tree regulation in there, or if it has to be a bylaw, and whatever other changes we'd like to see done. So we can work on that for the regulations, and then the bylaw, whether it be in the spring or fall. So this is just a step. It's just a stepping stone to get us there. So it gives people used to what we want to put in there, to see how much. I mean, if I put this in there and I get a huge bunch of backlash on it, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to try to bring that to town meeting because that won't go well for me. So, so we're just going to try that. This will be in, and that way, if it does, and there's no hiccups on it, and it goes well, then if we do go. Does go to a bylaw and we go to a town meeting, it's basically like, well, we've had this as a policy for the last 6 months without a hiccup and without any pushback on it. So that's the hope with it. Is to just
any hiccups we get, we'll just use to inform reshaping it.
Yeah, exactly, reshaping it and figuring what we need to change, and that's what I told Zach when I met him. Like, I'm just trying to work it out to see, because I don't know what you know, because you're the arborist, so this is why we're meeting out here. I'm asking you these questions. You tell me what doesn't work, and then I can revise what I'm doing.
So Heather, I have a few edits.
Sure.
But what I was thinking is, because there's still some things I think need to be clarified here.
Okay.
Do you have time next week? I could come in and, not Tuesday, but...
Yeah, not Tuesday. I don't have time on Tuesday.
Yeah. Just like for an hour, just go through and do some editing together?
I have something Wednesday, but yeah, Monday would work, or Thursday. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it's great. And
yes, it basically, so Dedham, Needham, and I think Hingham all have the similar policy. I kind of just picked pieces from each one.
Sure. I mean, why reinvent the wheel?
Oh yeah.
On the so again, as you indicated, technically not really enforceable, correct?
Nope.
Right. So then it was the second bullet. The commission requires. So should that not be the commission recommends?
Well, I mean, it's up to you. More or less, all of it is. We're all just asking, right? So
we could just put is asking that, and that leaves it a little vague. Commission is asking that.
Or commission prefers.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, if you can't say requires if it's not enforceable, you can just kind of like, well, that's kind of weird.
What our hope is that someone would read this and go, oh, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And then you get the one engineer here or there, or the landowner that goes, well, that fights it, and you're like, oh, okay, well, they can't do anything about it. So the hope is that people will read this and go, okay, this is what I have to do, and not push back on it. When I say it's not really enforceable, if someone goes, I'm not going to do that, and you can't make me, I go, well, I really can't. But the hope is that they'll read it and go, oh, okay, this is what I need to do.
I think what you just said though is
Understand.
saying asks that
Yeah,
is
so-
doesn't say we can require.
Because
but
I mean, I left the whole part out.
sounds-
That's something, because I look at it and I go, oh, it's really hard to say to people, oh, you need to replant things. Because other towns are like, oh, we have a tree fund that they put things in. Well, I can't put that in there because I really can't require it to. But when it goes to regulation or bylaw, that'll be in there. So it goes to like a tree fund. So if it doesn't get planted and they give us money, then I can go ahead and then take the money and plant a tree on town land somewhere to make up for the ones that were removed in town.
What did you mean by, what does the third bullet mean? Healthy trees? Do you think
So-
maybe considered?
So yeah, maybe
Yeah,
consider. So what
okay.
happens is like you look at it's a healthy tree, but it's really close to a structure. If like a branch would fall, it's going to take out someone's garage.
So that's where the 2-to-1 ratio would not apply.
Mhm.
Okay, so
So I'm trying to make it like not like, oh no, you can't take trees without replacing it. It's trying to be like, no, we understand that
Yeah.
you may have a tree that's going to fall on your, I don't know.
That's like the ones they took down up in
yeah,
subdivision, right?
yeah,
They said they planted them too close, they didn't realize they planted them too close to the
Right.
homes or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
You do. You're encouraging prurient responses when you say evaluating the healthy trees with the 6-inch diameter at
Yeah.
breast height. It's a chest.
Yeah, I mean, I just borrowed it from. I'm
Or like
from other things. I'm
5
like,
feet
okay.
from the ground.
5
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some people.
So there's some. I
If
mean,
Bill
there's
were
just
here-
little like word edits I'm
Bill
sure
were
that
here,
can go
he'd
through.
be-
That's why I wanted you guys to review it to be like,
I'm stopping. I'm turning back. Yeah, so I'll come in like,
Yeah.
we're meeting at 3, I could come in like maybe 1:30 or 2 on Monday.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that works.
okay.
And we go through and we can bang out whatever small. I don't care. Whatever changes.
Yeah.
That you want to add to it, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. You can play. Because you've done a lot of work on this and it's good.
Oh, thank you. You see the pile of different bylaws I have on my desk. Try to find climate resiliency ones or whatever else I can find.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, very much.
So that's what we're trying to do.
Anything else?
before 8?
We just got a
Why
handful of
do you say
updates.
Football starts.
We just got I gotta get to
Is
things that I
the
have a
football game tonight?
handful of
Thursday night
updates
football?
for you.
Okay,
TNF?
priorities.
Who's playing? Do we care?
What's that?
It's football, so no, we
Doesn't
don't.
matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, see, in my opinion, it's football, so I don't care.
That's right. All done with tree policy for this evening?
Yep.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Okay,
Conservation
so I
updates?
just want to make sure we have an understanding that me and Jess will work on the final wording of it, but as a whole, the commission is fine with starting to implement this.
Yes.
Did you want to take a vote on that?
We need
It's
to
not
vote on
enforceable.
that?
We don't have to vote it.
Okay, I just want to make sure, like I said, and it's my hope that if I can get it into a regulation, that I have that done by March, so that's my ambitious goal on that.
Yeah, and so for to make it a regulation,
It's
we have to
public
have a
hearing.
public hearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which means it doesn't have to go to
Then
town
we
meeting.
can say requires.
Yes, then we can say requires.
As
then I
opposed
can-
to, we
and
really
then-
like
and-
you, but if you don't do it, you're just a jerk.
And then I have to figure out if I do want to do a tree fund account, then that can go into regulation, that has to be a bylaw. That's a whole question too, so we'll see.
But I think, what you're talking about, like, because the zoning bylaws include that thing about, not clear cutting a lot without permission.
Correct,
Certain
it does. It's unfortunate though that every subdivision that's come through because of grading and utility concerns, that kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
So the more that we can have in there to try to make it more enforceable, that's fine, you can take them down, but then you need to plant them. And
Yeah.
we have these street trees, we have more trees, or
Yeah.
shrub, I don't care, they put shrubs, that we have that it's just basically
Yeah.
making up what you're taking out.
But I
Like,
think
when you fill a wetland, you
yeah.
have to replicate it 2 to 1. Now you take a tree out and you need 2 for one that you took out.
Heather,
Yes.
just something that came up. Did you, maybe you've already said this before in previous meeting. Do we like, should we clear this with the tree warden? Don't we have a tree warden or something?
We do have a tree warden. And because they're on personal property, these are not town trees. The tree warden comes into effect when it's more or less town trees. So all the tree policies that I found
I thought they
from
were
other
nosing
towns
under
are all fall under street trees.
You sure?
Yes.
I thought they were, like, again, I thought they had a nose in other people's trees.
People consult them, I think.
They might consult him on
Yeah.
things, but I haven't had to cross paths with him only on one minor thing so far.
But
so.
at the same time, might it be worthwhile?
It'll yeah.
letting-
When it
letting
when it
that
gets
person
when it
take
gets
a
to
look?
that point, I might contact Dan to try to figure out how to get a hold of him. I think I might have met him once in passing.
It just seems to, hey,
But yeah,
what do
no,
you think of
I
this?
will, and I think it's gonna come. It's something I do gonna clear with DPW too, because they did their tree planting plan as part of their MVP grant. So that's a whole nother can of worms that I want to try to get into too. Is get a sustainability committee going with the regards to the MVP program,
Oh,
which would then it should tie him into that too, because we will be looking at trees.
okay. I'm done.
It's all in the grand scheme of things that I'd like to do that we're working on.
Long-term goals.
Long-term, these are on part of my long-term goals, yes.
Yes, we get to the stage of working on it for a bylaw, then that would be where you want to, we want to
Yes.
tie in with the planning
Mhm.
board and have it be more than our jurisdiction.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what I found, and it was only the town I found it was
Yeah, of
Concord,
course.
which makes it kind of,
Yeah.
gotta find another town besides Concord, because no one wants anything when they hear Concord. So, in regards to conservation office updates, like I said previously, the Sandy Pond treatment plant, the water main, when they started doing the work on that, the culvert going under the road had partially collapsed. Since then, as of yesterday, it had fully collapsed. So they are requesting emergency repair on that culvert since it is collapsed. They do have sandbags, so there's no sediment going on either side. I did email them to schedule a site visit so I can go out and see it, and notify them that they will have to file a notice of intent for that work. We are allowed, according to DEP, allow them to do the work, but will have to file a notice of intent after the fact. So that's what my suggestion would be. I don't want to see it sitting for the 3 weeks it would take for them to get me an NOI and hold a public hearing before they're allowed to replace it.
So this was the thing that we approved before because they thought the culvert was going to fail at some point? Or it wasn't?
No, this is just the water main replacement at the treatment plant.
Oh, so they weren't touching the culvert?
No, and I think
Oh,
it
remember
may.
they went under?
I think it may have been something when I spoke
Yeah.
with Maya from DPR Circuit Rider that it may have been missed when they did their filing, that we didn't us ourselves or they didn't look at it. So it's on my list of things to make sure that when we get another one and there is a crossing, to be like, did you make sure you checked the culvert? Is it good? Because I think it's just
Yeah.
something that we may have
Yeah.
missed on our review of the application.
So what we approved was from the culvert
What we
Uh-huh.
approved was from the, I think it's actually just,
or distance from it?
it's before the culvert that they start the water main replacement, and then they go all the way out, halfway up the hill, that the water main. And I went out and looked at, when I went out and looked at the silk fence and erosion control, I looked, and water was going from one side to the other. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it wasn't, you couldn't tell from standing on and looking at one side to the other,
Yeah,
there was
they put the
anything
main
wrong with
under
it.
the culvert, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that was part of the plan.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
if
yeah, there was.
So,
But I don't know if that was the area that we were looking, they were presenting to us.
no, it wasn't, but according
Yeah.
to Maya, she said that they, whenever there's a culvert on a plan, they should submit photos or documentation that that culvert is indeed fine, and I don't know why my phone's going crazy
Maybe it
right
was
now.
that.
That's me, because everyone knows I have a meeting and they're just texting me anyway. So that's just on my radar to make sure we double check. So we do need, and I don't know if I printed this on a printer. If you want to actually issue a emergency certificate, I'll just fill it out and you guys can sign it. Or if you want to just grant them to do the work in knowing that they'll do the NOI after the fact.
So we'll just vote them the emergency permit, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay
And then
with
they
that.
do the after the fact NOI.
Yeah, they'll do the NOI
Right,
after the
right.
fact, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I emailed them and told them that I would let them know what the commission decided this evening, whether it was an emergency certificate or just allow them to do the work knowing the NOI is coming. It doesn't, because it is failing. I would still go out and look at it anyway, and
Yep.
then hopefully tomorrow, if not first thing on Monday, to take a look at it. And then make sure everything's stable, and then they'll get the NOI filing hopefully in so they can be at the next meeting.
So do you want us to vote to approve you issuing an emergency certificate?
Whichever the commission decides.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Because that way I can put the site visit date and everything on it.
Any more discussion on that? Motion to approve emergency permit for the repairs of the culvert that collapsed,
Yeah, the Sandy Pond treatment.
Sandy Pond treatment plant.
Wait, is it
Sandy
Sandy
Pond or
Pond or
Spectacle?
Spectacle Pond, I'm sorry.
Okay, Spectacle Pond
Yeah.
There's too many
treatment plant,
Yeah.
Spectacle Pond, sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
issued by Heather. Anything else?
So moved.
Second.
All right. So moved in second, so we're good.
The order's all off
They're
tonight.
so
I just,
fast.
I can't.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes unanimously.
Okay,
Thank you.
and then as far as an update for Air Solar 2 goes, been going out on site and everything is, I've roped in the planning board in on it to get the stormwater management, because the site's stable in our point, so it's up to them to enforce their stormwater. Got an email from Rahit yesterday afternoon, requesting that, stating that there'll be no earth disturbance in the next 2 to 3 months due to the winter, and he wants to lower the frequency that the environmental monitor goes out on site to once a month for January and February, and one more time in December, unless there is a half an inch of rain or more when an inspection will occur. I told him I would run it by you guys, since you were the ones that put the environmental monitor out on site in the first place, and informed him that I would probably still be going out on site if I felt the need to without her, so. And I
That
didn't get a
was my-
response from him, so.
That was my question. but
Yeah, no, I
you're
would,
gonna
no,
still be going out.
I would still let him know that I would still be monitoring it if I felt the need.
Do you do that once a week still?
Yeah, I go out with her every Wednesday, and it rains every Wednesday morning.
It's a good test.
I think in the last month, there's been one Wednesday that it wasn't raining or snowing. So it's fine.
Yeah, no, I definitely would want you to still go out there, especially,
Yeah.
you know, because he's what, Minnesota, is it?
Yeah, Michigan.
Michigan.
So
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's
more than
not-
likely, you're getting very similar weather than we are, a day, maybe 2 days earlier, but,
Yeah,
you know, if it snows 6 feet here and then melts in 2 days,
That's-
it's gonna be a mess
that's
also.
my concern on the site,
Right.
yeah. Yep,
And we'll have a January thaw,
yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
it's,
gonna be a mess,
yeah.
so.
That's if we have a
Freeze.
A
December
freeze.
freeze first.
True.
Well, some days it's, 20 in the
Making
morning, and then
assumptions.
2 days later it's 40, so.
Yeah.
6 feet, they got muffles all done, so.
Yeah.
Yes, otherwise that seems fine as long as you're still going.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
all right, I'll let him
So
know.
he'll do one more time in December.
So,
and then once in January,
Rihanna,
once in
who's the
February.
environmental monitor that I meet out on site, she will go out on the 21st, on January 11th and February 15th. And then if there's a half an inch of rain or more, she'll go out as well.
Okay.
So like we had on
And then
Wednesday,
back-
the
and then
Tuesday
back
to Wednesday.
In March.
And then I'm sure he'll, and I'll put in the response to him that, at the end of, in February, we're gonna have to, if he wants to keep the once a month or bi-weekly, he would have to re-request that. Become March, we'll be going back to weekly unless he requests otherwise.
Okay,
Everybody okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
I just don't want to tell him anything without asking you guys
Mm.
first, because he's fun to deal with.
Have we heard anything from North County Land Trust? 'Cause didn't we make Solar 2 one of their priorities?
I emailed them every 2 weeks, asking them if they need any other information from me from their email they had sent me, I think 2.5 months ago, and I never hear anything.
Can you up that?
Yeah, sure can. I'll email them again tomorrow, and I'll email them weekly.
Did we give them money already? Like,
Yep.
where we at?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think our concern with Solar 2 is, because that CR is not remotely complete. And it's like, we don't want
and
them
when I
to-
asked Rohit about it, he goes, "Oh no, it's done." I said, "Okay, well, can I see it? Can
It's
I?"
not
He's like, "Well,
done.
no, it's in the state. The state does." I'm like, "No, no,
Oh.
we have to approve it, and then our select board has to approve it and notarize it and sign it. Then you have to do it. Then it goes to the state." He's like, "Oh no, that's how it works." I go, "No, that's how it works."
Joanne explained that to him also.
Yeah, you explain
He's-
things to him. He doesn't understand. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if he doesn't listen or if he doesn't remember. But I have to tell him things multiple
Yeah.
times.
So, who's
Don't
the
make that
contact that he was supposed to have provided to us? Is it him?
Yeah, everything goes through him.
So tell him then that the commission's requesting, if he has sent a copy to the state, we need to see it.
Yeah, well, it can't go to the state without it being signed. Like,
Oh, I know. But we should see what draft he's working with.
Yes, yeah, no,
tell-
I think I've asked him for that multiple times and I just haven't gotten it. It's the same thing with I have concern with the fact the silk fence is still intact. Well, not really intact,
Yeah.
it's still in place. And they're not obviously not going to do anything for a while. So we get to the turtle nesting area. I'm like, well, where's that? And he goes, oh, it's the replication. I go, that's not on the plan. I feel like it was a different area. I'm like, can you get me something from National Heritage? And I never got it. So I gotta get that from him too. Stay that they're fine with.
Do you need a John Schmallenberger signed letter?
Yeah. Both, because we never, did
Merry
you ever?
Christmas.
Yeah. Because you were asking for the written things from Natural Heritage on a number of things.
Yeah.
And they swore they'd get it to us. And
Well,
they never
I
have.
got an email and they go, well, they say they don't typically do that. And I go, that's fine. It could be my ignorance that I think that they would do that. I'm like, but then can I have something from them saying that they don't typically do that? And I just never got it. Just because, in my opinion, if Natural Heritage approved the approved plans that included the retaining wall and everything else, and now seeing how the site is now, I'm thinking of 1,000 other things that are wrong with it. I only think of these things at 10:30 at night when I'm trying to sleep. Is if these changes have been made in place, I wanted Natural Heritage to review them and make sure they were fine, and they just keep saying, oh no, we told them it's okay. And I'm like, and they're okay. I go, that.
You need to hear it from Natural
I need to hear it
Heritage.
from Natural Heritage.
Yeah.
And-
It's pulling titanium implanted teeth from there.
So here you go. So we'll approve going to once a month
Yeah.
if he provides you the data that you've been requesting.
If providing, I'm gonna ask for
Oh, that's a good one.
CR
It's a nice carrot.
update and Natural Heritage
A lot of carrots.
letter on plan changes. Okay.
So not just an update, we want to see the draft he thinks they're
Right. You
working
want
with.
the CR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need the
Yeah.
confirmation from National
Yes.
Heritage.
Yep.
Natural Heritage.
That's
Yeah.
it.
National.
Yeah, Natural Heritage, yeah. Yep, I will do that. I will put that in the email.
John,
And then,
John said so.
That's right.
He will be at the planning board meeting on Tuesday evening, as will I. So if any of you have any, two of you have any questions or concerns you'd like to ask Cal and Rohit, you can go do so then on
They're gonna
Tuesday
be there?
evening. Yes, they will.
Ooh.
John, you need to go.
Well, we're gonna go to
Yeah.
site walk with them on
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning
Yep.
anyway.
Yep.
Who's the site?
10.
On Tuesday morning?
Yes.
Yep.
With the planning board.
Yeah.
We are?
You wanna go?
Oh, no, but, it's Solar 2?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have fun.
It's partially paved
Oh,
now,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's different.
Yeah.
It's what?
Partially paved now.
Ah,
There's
Yeah.
concerns with that, but that's okay.
So does the state have somebody to review CRs yet?
I don't believe they do, because I did get one, I got one from, it was Panther Place. And the email that we got back from, because they had everything they went through conservation, so just waiting the state. And the email they got back was, oh, it'll go in the queue for next year. So I think they're still, and that was a month ago, so they're still behind.
I thought I heard that they were having maybe people from other departments.
Yeah, they might, but I think,
that,
so this one literally went to them in October or early November, and they were told it'll go in the queue for 2023. So
When we were at the
they're a few months
conference,
behind.
that one keynote speaker mentioned that they didn't have anybody in that position at that point in time.
Yeah. And I've been going to all these trainings for like baseline monitoring and how to draft a CR. It's like, well, that's fantastic, because no one no one sent this stuff to.
Well, I think there are other people picking it up, but all those other people don't have anything to do of their own anyway, so they have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of those situations.
Yeah, state's not in a massive build.
Goes into that queue.
Anything else, Heather?
No, just like I stated when we were doing the trade policy, I'm going to start working on regulations and possible bylaws, along with cross-referencing with the planning board to try to get them on board with some of the items that I want to look at doing here to try to get them covered across town. So it's just a matter of figuring out how to do that, which has been an issue. So, but I'll work on ours more or less first, and then try to tie them into other ones in the upcoming year.
Members,
Find it
updates?
resilient. Oh, and then the Pocket Forest program that we had Jim
Yep.
Newman here to talk about. So the me and Alan had worked out the 5, I think there's 7 sites that we, 5? I can't remember. Sites that we looked at that'll be on the site walk on the 17th. They're doing that from 10 to 3. I don't think they really anticipate anyone going to all sites for the whole time. It's more or less, we're starting here and going there.
That's the
So,
Saturday.
Yeah, the Saturday the 17th. It's 10 o'clock. It starts at Shirley Street at St. Mary's. And they anticipate being at Peroni Park to review that site at 12:30. That was the consultants that picked that. That wasn't us. And the other sites include the Triangle down here on East Main Street where the railroad bridge is. The vacant lot next to Jarvis Ford. It's like a gravel U that they park some vehicles on, and it's all grass in the back. I'm trying to look at that site there. The Sandy Pond School over on Westford Road in Sandy Pond as another site. The Ayer Shirley High School, Page Hilltop Elementary School, and looking at Peroni Park as well.
I guess what would they do?
Those are the sites that we kind
So
of
it'd be
narrowed
like
down to.
super dense behind the school or around
So
the
they
whole
would do
school?
it the front of the school. So the back of the school is all right. It's all forest and it abuts
But you
by
got
that.
the old, like,
But you have that
railroad.
whole front on Washington Street. That's basically parking lot and grass. And it ends up when you look at the heat island off of the EPA's website. That ends up being a heat island for the town.
You said Washington Street.
Yes.
I meant Sandy Pond School.
Oh, the Sandy Pond School. Yes.
Yeah, where do they want to do it there?
So you know the Sandy Pond School Association, the school that houses in that corner?
Yeah, yeah.
So I drove by there yesterday to try to figure out, I think it because there are just a couple random trees,
Yeah.
when they look at, this is why the consultants need to go look at it, because I looked at it, I go, I think you might have to take some bigger trees down to do this, but you're taking 2 or 3 trees down to plant 20.
Yeah.
So it'd be an exchange on that point, and I don't know what would be the better location. It would be the Sandy Pond side or the Westford Road side. But the person that's in charge of the Sandy Pond School Association is really excited about it because they do want to do some sort of park in that area anyway. It's more education. So this would be a great stepping stone for that. And it's one of my bucket lists of putting one just because of the truck and train traffic in that area. It would be nice to have that there. And the speckled pond, like the wellhead isn't far away either. Whatever we can do for water mediation anywhere in that area would be
So
fantastic.
have them take out the old road and plant it there.
Oh yeah, the road that cuts back. Yeah, there's. I think it's a matter of looking at logistics on that one, but there's multiple areas on there that you can look at to try to put it there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that you get rid of the pavement,
Yeah.
and then you plant trees on the pavement
Yep.
instead, right? So that would be
Yeah, there's multiple
the only way.
locations on that, so that's one of the sites that they go on the 17th. I don't know what time that would be, but like I said they're starting at St. Mary's on Shirley Street at 10, and their plan, if you look at their flyer, is to be at, I think that from there they're gonna go to school, and then West Main Street, and then Peroni Park by 12:30, and then I'm gonna guess Jarvis and Sandy Pond after that, so. I will do my best to make a couple of those, but again, I have,
You got a life.
oh god, we have kids, so we'll see what we can do. It's like walk at 8, so driving back and forth to Ayer.
Member updates? You have one, I have one as well. Go ahead.
Oh, after you.
I was walking in Pine Meadow, and there was a number of, if you've all been back there, there's these signs that are encased in plastic, and it's been there for so long, the plastic is just deteriorating. And this must have offended someone because they ripped it off the tree and just left it on the ground. But the signage in Pine Meadow is either non-existent, and at best it's embarrassing and confusing. And I'm wondering if we can't get it on next year's agenda to get some decent signage.
Yes, so
in there.
that was one of my main focuses when I first started here. I would go out and walk there and go, this place is ridiculous. I can't even find one way to the other.
Mhm.
And a Trails grant program just got released, and I was like, oh, I can try to go for that to try to fix that. But unfortunately, the Trails grant, it has to be ADA compliant in order for you to go for a Trails grant. So I'm like, darn, I can't do that. But I'm sure I could find something, and I was going to try to reach CPC money, and I was going to try to reach out to the Groton Trails Committee, because I know they're, because I mean, I'm trying to figure out how I can do this, because there are unmarked trails all through that place, and the trails that are marked, you start walking on, there's branches that go up and there's no sign. I went out a couple times after going to Arizona too, and I'm like, this is a mess. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm gonna get lost in the woods. I've been sorry, like I always tell me at town hall, I'm like, I'm gonna go here. If I'm not back in 2 hours, call me.
Mm-hmm.
Take a whistle.
I'm probably lost.
This would be perfect for Eagle Scouts.
Yeah, it'd be something that we'd have to do probably mid-spring before it's not too cold, before it gets too hot. And I figured what we'd have to do on it is get just a group of people on a Saturday to go out there, and in order to figure out where one trail goes, is like one start on one end, one go the other way, and hopefully you meet in the middle. So you go, awesome, I know where this one goes, and mark it along the way. And then once we have that done on each one, then we can go through and figure out how we're going to blaze it after that. I have no idea how to do it. I don't know how to do the handheld GPS things and stuff. So
I've hiked them all, and I know my way around now.
Yeah.
But I was just going around.
Yeah, it's sad, because I that was one of the things I really wanted to do when I first started, because it's the only place that we have. And I was like, oh, we really need to redo the boards too. When you first get in there, those signage boards really need to get redone. So I'll hop on that focus too, to try to get that, at least those done by spring.
Rocky Hill has, if you've been hiking in
I did go.
They have really nice,
The nice
signage.
post,
It's
yeah.
just a 4x4 post in the ground with long skinny things on it, and it's I get lost going around a block, and I know where I'm going.
Yeah, and that's Mass
cheap.
Audubon.
It's got to be cheap too.
It's Mass Audubon land too, so they have the resources to do that stuff. So we'd have to find a way to say, I figured, try to reach out to, I think, just find other towns and see what they do with theirs. I just know, like Groton Trails Committee, they have a whole trails committee, and they do all this kind of work. They might be able to get some sort of, company that they use for blazing, to buy the blazers to do those, and then it's a matter of, did these trails ever have a color to start with? Because I don't want to go through and then automatically change it, because that's just going to confuse people as well.
Groton Town Forest, they have at each trail juncture, crossings, they have like a, 18 or something like that, any sort of symbol, and then a map where you can see on the map where
Yeah.
the number is, and that,
I know there's a
That's
lot of
pretty
there's a lot of
good.
stuff that needs to go into it. It's not as
if we wanted to really spiff up that trailhead sign and then prepare some sort of marker system, CPC would be a good
yeah.
resource. And for spring, we just met last night, so for Springtown meeting, which is April, we would need, CPC would need an application by February
Okay, that might be
for
interesting.
funding, March at the latest. And I can do the application.
Okay, that that might be a little too soon, but we'll.
But in terms of just having a general amount, you don't
Yeah.
have to have specifics, but
Yeah, no, because it was something that I started like, oh, I guess, and then yeah, I don't know, I got busy with air solo or something. I completely forgot all about it. And I got cold because I was going out there and walking through spider webs at like 9 in the morning. Because I was the first one on the trails. I was like, I gotta come out here later in the day. Just someone's already walked through these.
at least you know there's no creep ahead.
Yeah.
There's a bunch
Just
of
spent the
trees
night.
down. There's a bunch of trees down across the trails.
Again.
Yeah.
We've had
Alright.
some good winds.
Yeah.
Who does that? Is that DPW?
Unfortunately, I can ask Dan if they have the time. I don't know if they will. I think in the past what's happened is Good Samaritans who have witnessed them and not seen them cleaned up have gone in and moved them. And when I was out on site one time, it was after a windstorm and there was quite a bit of sticks and stuff through that I went through and picked up and brushed out of the way.
No, this is chainsaw stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was filling in, there were some down in Pine Meadow, and I emailed, I think, the tree warden through Robert's office.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
that would be
for
where the tree
other-
warden would come in on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I will get a hold of him for that.
I think the other thing, Trails near some benches along the way.
Ooh, and that was
Yeah, there's some good spots
CPC.
for-
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
some good spots. Yeah, the pond lookout was a couple of those that
Yeah.
are good. And I took my kids during COVID out a couple times, and they just like sitting on the big rocks and looking out at it.
So you're thinking an Eagle Scout
Yeah,
All right.
project?
yeah, nothing fancy, just a log cut in half, a couple of posts or something.
Really? I think you want something like a lounging kind of thing.
Some of us like to lean back.
I'm not sure you can be allowed. We get a section.
Something would be nice.
Section.
Yeah.
Maybe a section.
Well,
Just
we
get a
have like
hammock
more
between
of
two
those
trees
in
and
my
you
garage.
sleep out there.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Okay.
With spider web.
Oh,
Good.
That's it for
Okay.
me.
Okay,
You got
so,
something?
yeah, that would be CPC.
I
could do
will
a bunch there.
make a list of things I need to work on the next 3
Would
months.
you be suggesting that if the Eagle Scouts were interested, that would be a great project, but if nobody was interested, then we could go for funding with CPC? Or
Whatever.
whatever?
Could we fund an Eagle Scout?
We could fund materials, right? Maybe. I'll talk to Janet Providicus. Okay.
You got something else?
And my update was I didn't get to go to the Pocket Forest thing at Town Hall last time because the ZBA was meeting that night. And the Chapter 40B, so we've got the final report from the outside consultant for looking at various aspects of design and stormwater and traffic, et cetera. The applicant had specifically not wanted to do the environmental habitat review at that time because they didn't want to spend the money then. And even though I said, you know, you're still going to have to do it when you come before conservation. But the report had a number of things that, from the outside consultant, that they flagged that that this would be deferred until it comes before conservation. So there would be a number of outstanding questions that we would have to review down the road. In addition to the sewer line crossing, probably crossing the parcel under an intermittent stream, that which I assume myself I would recommend we did an outside consultant for that, because whether you trench it or you horizontal directional drill, that's outside of my expertise at least. But some other questions that came up were like, okay, there's snowplow where they're gonna pile snow when they plow. They've indicated on the plan to the ZBA, and the outside consultant's like, that should come before the Conservation Commission, depending on where. So there just will be a number of questions that will be coming before us at some point.
Looking forward to it.
And I asked the ZBA's consultant, the lawyer who's helping us on our side, shouldn't some of these things be being answered before the ZBA finishes its comprehensive permit? And he said, no, actually everything says specifically not. They shouldn't come before conservation until they have their general comprehensive permit. So the timing seems appropriate.
Okay. Anything else?
Keep you informed.
Jen?
I have nothing.
George? So back to the signs. I'm playing a little bit of email tag back and forth with Liddell for the cost of having a couple extra signs printed, and then also, I think it's Kim Becker was the lady that did the sign design. One thing that I forgot to check was, because we got the files, I'm not sure if I can just actually go in and change the I to an A and be done with it, versus having Kim actually do it and potentially charge us. I know when I initially sent her something saying that we might have to have signs redone, she said in an email back to me, she said, well, I went in and I was looking at the QR code and it's the right one that Joanne sent us and blah, blah, blah. And like she did all this stuff and I forgot to, like, I sent that and then forgot about it. When I got back to it, she had done all this and I'm like, oh goodness, no, we've already got the QR code figured out. It had nothing to do with anything. It was like landing page or something. So that's all worked out. We just need to have something else printed, but she's been away in, I think, North Dakota with her son for Thanksgiving and stuff, so haven't seen her back yet. So it's in the works. I would assume that it won't take too long to have her just change an I to an A and send us the design and flip it over to
Make sure
Liddell.
she has the right number of N's as well.
And make sure there's not like 4 of them, right?
Or 2. I mean, there should be
There's
3.
2.
FLANNAGAN?
Right.
Yeah.
And you know how I know that? Because it was in my minutes from last meeting. So yeah.
Yeah.
So again, hopefully that happens pretty quickly and
Okay.
we'll get it there.
Swap them out real fast.
Yeah.
Once they're done.
Regarding the Sandy Pond School,
Yes.
this is why we need the pocket forest. Because that's what you see
Yeah.
in my backyard, which is right next
Right
to the
there, yeah.
pond.
Yeah,
Or
we sure
next to the
do.
school.
Oh, wow.
Dear.
10-point buck back there.
Wow.
Oh, holy mackerel.
Crunching on the pumpkins that we laid out for him.
There you go.
You let him get away?
What's that?
You let him get away?
I did. My brother said, shoot him.
It's too close to the houses. He's gotta get 100 feet away, then you can't.
I tried to figure, I was like, can I bow hunt? I'm like, no.
No.
Because I gotta be 150 feet from pavement, and you gotta be 500 feet from a dwelling. And my property is only like 125
They
wide.
know exactly where
So
to
I have to be
go.
on somebody else's property. And it's just not gonna work.
Couldn't hit him with your car?
Could. This is like 5 in the morning.
Bambi.
Oh, that's not Bambi.
That's not bad. The baby's dead.
Bambi's grandpa.
But anyways, so yeah, that was good. The twins were there too, the mommy and the 2 little twins. They had
cute.
spots all over them in the summertime. It's great.
Did you fawn all over them?
We fawned all over them.
I just remembered one thing when you mentioned the signs for the ponds. I got a call yesterday in regards to the water level of Shaker Mill Pond.
Is this from Leon?
No, this
Oh.
wasn't from, no, this was a resident of Ayer, saying the water level, was yesterday, it was Tuesday, but the water level getting high. So I went out and looked at it yesterday. I'm like, I want to wait until the rain comes in so I can really see if it does. Because last time I went out, it was during the drought, and it's very high. I I should have, because they were out working, so I could have walked down, but I'll try to get out there tomorrow to go, and I saw Dan this morning as well, and he said he had gone out. Water is going over the dam, but it's
Into
no, the water going into it from Shaker Road,
Right.
behind by Madigan's, is almost level for where the beaver deceiver is. So there's no blockage
Yeah.
there, because that's that high that it wouldn't make a difference anyway, if the beaver dam was there or not. It's the outlet over past Blue Northern, which I would have parked there, but there was a car there with no trespassing sign. And I didn't want to
Yeah.
get caught doing that. But going up Robbins Hill Road, I peeked through. It's flowing through a little bit, but it is definitely blocked and impeding some of the water level. And the resident that called me is just concerned if it gets any higher with a snow melt or snowstorm, that it will flood his basement. He contacted Dan as well, so I saw Dan Vinchowick this morning, and he asked me if I heard about it. And because Dan Aho, when he bought those houses on Littleton Road and there, he basically owns that dam, from what our understanding is he's given the town permission to do whatever we need to for that dam. So Dan stated, after you guys meet this evening, if you authorized him to, he would go through and have somebody go out there, one of his guys, and just clear a pathway, and we'll figure out just some sort of, monitoring it and clear it out when it needs to. And it is on our list of, beaver management items as well, so.
I think on that one and some other locations where there should be some, Rosewood Avenue is another
Yeah.
area. Robert, at some point, wanted to talk about doing a memo of understanding or something with private property owners for the town to be able to put in and maintain a deceiver in some areas where if we don't, it affects beyond that private property.
Mhm.
But we could mention that on Monday.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on there and make sure you're okay with me letting Dan know to go through and do whatever he needs to clear that, because it looks like it's flowing under something, so there's something blocking it further up, and it just needs to be cleared up, because it is, if you drive by there, you'd be like, oh wow, that's high, that's a lot of water.
This is at the outlet end of the pond?
Yeah, it's at the outlet
Okay,
in the
by
pond.
the dam.
Yeah, by the
Okay,
dam. It's,
okay.
yeah, so I drove through there, and I
Or mill, whatever.
I just didn't,
Yeah.
I had other things to do that
Yeah.
morning that I didn't, and I saw Josiah out there, and I should have just been like, let me walk down there real quick and take a look at it. But you could see it from the Robbins Road side, that you could see it flowing through.
Okay.
If
Even
you
through
let
the
it
woods.
flood too much, then it starts going up along the shore where it
Yeah,
starts
and
destroying tree roots.
Yeah, and it was, I'm not sure exactly where the resident lived. He said he lived in Shaker Ponds. I don't know, Shaker Road, so I don't know where it was, but he said before it got into his basement when it got really high. So I said, oh yeah, we don't want that to happen to you. I'm like, we'll look into it. So I will let Dan know tomorrow. I'm gonna have someone go out there and just clear a pathway on it, and we'll keep an eye on it until we can get some sort of management plan for it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Were you going to ask for adjournment?
No, I was
Okay.
going to ask about the December 22nd meeting. Anyone greatly opposed to canceling that December 22nd meeting? Speak now. Do we need to vote on that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Is it in the,
Oh, but
so right now this says next scheduled meeting is December 22nd. So,
Yeah.
okay, so that'll be in the minutes.
It'll be in the minutes, and it'll be taken off the calendar.
I think it's because we're all traveling for Christmas. There won't be a quorum.
I'm going to be gone.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah, so if we don't have a quorum, we can't. Related to that would be, when should our next meeting be? So one of the things we usually do is
Set a schedule.
give Carly the list of what our 2023 meeting dates are. And it's always been, except for this year, traditionally we do the 2nd, 4th, right through until we play around in November, December.
Yep.
Last year we did meet a little bit, a week earlier, so we didn't have a huge gap between meetings. So if we went by the current thing and the current normal pattern of if we skip the 22nd, then our next meeting wouldn't be until the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have a lot going on.
Yeah, I guess that would really come down to being the only thing. If we had a bunch of stuff pressing, then maybe we would change it, but
Yeah,
I'm
on the
comfortable with the 12th based on what we
Yeah.
just heard with these folks. That
Yeah, on
they
the
were-
flip side of that, the deadline for the meeting on the 22nd was this past Monday, which would mean the deadline for any meeting earlier than the 12th would be the next 2 Mondays. And I haven't heard about anything coming in, so
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have anybody that's gonna be overly concerned about getting a application in.
Yeah. Because technically we could meet January 5th and just have 4 weeks, but we could do the 12th. The two things we have right now would be the ANRAD and moving forward on the RFP
Mhm.
for pond treatment. Should be fine, the 12th.
Works for me.
Yeah, if I hear otherwise, I'll let you guys know if I hear someone like, oh no, I need to get in sooner than that. So. But again, with authorizing them to replace that culvert, it's going to be an NOI after the fact anyway. So if it doesn't come into the 12th, I don't think it'll be a huge thing anyway.
Okay.
12th it is.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Passes unanimously.